Hey guys, this is Mrs. Weisenborn. Sorry I couldn't be here today. I'm going to quickly go through the 1.7 notes. Just do the best you can, follow along. You can pause, rewind, or even rewatch the video. And then when I get back, let me know if you have any questions. Basically, you just need to memorize some formulas. Midpoint, I want you to think average. Okay, that's in the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to average the x's. So you add two things, divide by 2, average the y's, and that's your formula. So average the x's, average the y's. Slope formula, you need to do y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So it's rise over run, y's and rise on the top. You can also do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You just need to be consistent. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Distance formula. Hopefully you remember that I told you that Pythagorean theorem is very similar to distance. So you can use Pythagorean theorem instead of distance formula. So I showed you that little shortcut last time, so don't forget about that. The actual distance formula is the square root of x minus x squared plus y minus y squared. Pretty much the same thing, because everything's squared here, so to reverse that, we square root everything. And x minus x is the difference, which would be the length of one leg, y minus y, same idea. So let's jump into some practice. Feel free to use your graph paper. Not the same thing works for everyone, so maybe some of these try your graph paper, and some just try using the formula. It's always a good idea just to graph it, because it's a good way to check your work. So I'm going to plot these points. Over 1, up 6, and over 9, up 6 as well. So if you draw that line, I can easily see where the midpoint is, because it's vertical. I can easily find the distance of it. I can count, and I can even see the slope. But just for practice, I'm going to do the formula. So midpoint formula is x plus x divided by 2. So in your coordinate points, you have x, y. X, y, it's a good idea to label those, even if you know the difference, just because sometimes people get those mixed up. So x plus x divided by 2, y plus y divided by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 6 plus 6 divided by 2 would be 6. So my midpoint is the 0.56. Well, if you go to 5, 6, that looks like it would be the midpoint. So that's our answer. For the distance, again, I can plot those points, and I can count the distance of that line, because it's horizontal. We can count horizontal and vertical things. So I can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units long. I can also do distance formula. For practice, I will do that. So I'm going to do x minus x squared plus y, which is 6 minus 6 squared. So 1 minus 9 is negative 8. Keep it in parentheses. You should never be taking the square root of a negative in this class. 6 minus 6 is just 0, and 0 squared is still 0. So not really important. Negative 8 squared is 64. Square root of that is 8. What do you know? I didn't count the distance as 8. The distance here is 8. I'm going quickly, so please feel free to pause the video if you need to do that. Okay, so find the slope of line. Again, when I draw that line, you can see that it's a straight line. It's going across, so the slope should be 0. It's not increasing or decreasing at all. But I'm going to go ahead and work it out. So slope is y minus y over x minus x. That gives me 0 over negative 8, which is 0. So either way, fine with me. Okay, similar thing here. At this time, if you want to pause it and try this one on your own, that's fine. And when you're ready, just play it. Or if you want to go ahead and play now, up to you. So I'm going to just go ahead and work this out using the formulas. So midpoint is x plus x, y plus y, 8 over 2 is 4, 4 over 2 is 2. Again, you can plot those points, see if it makes sense. I'm just trying to go quickly, so I'm not going to spend time on that. Find the distance, same thing. So x minus x and y minus y. We have the same thing in here. We have a straight line, so I've got -4 squared plus 0 again. Square root of 16 is 4. And the slope, again, it was a straight line, so the slope is going to be 0 here as well if you graph that. So over 2 up 2, over 6 up 2. Straight line, slope is 0. Okay, next one. A little bit different here. So over 11 up 9, I don't quite have that far, but I'll just kind of eyeball it. Over 11 up 9, over 11 up 3. So here we can see it's a vertical line. The midpoint, again, I can count, I can see where that's going to be, but I'm just going to do the formula for practice. So x plus x divided by 2, y plus y divided by 2. That's going to be 11 and 6. So over 11 up 6. And that looks like the midpoint. Make sure that your answers make sense. It takes 2 seconds to plot those points and see if your midpoint is actually where the midpoint should be. So distance formula, x minus x squared plus y minus y squared. Got another 0 in this problem. Do it while it lasts because they won't always be so simple. Square root of 36 is 6. And again, I could have counted the distance. Find the slope. The slope of a line that's vertical is going to be undefined. But let me show you what that'll look like. So y minus y is 6, and 11 minus 11 is 0. So if you have 0 on the bottom, that's undefined. Or if you have a straight up and down line, that's undefined as well. Same thing. Okay, so let's actually do one where the line's not perfectly straight. Well, it's straight, but not vertical or horizontal, diagonal. So I'm going to do the midpoint, capital M for that, midpoint. Going to find the slope, and I'm going to find the distance. Okay, slope is a lowercase m for notation, and the midpoint is capital M. So I'm going to go ahead and plot these points. Over 6, up 5, and over 9, up 2. And I'm going to go ahead and calculate midpoint formula. So x plus x over 2, and y plus y over 2 as well. I'm going to get some decimals, and that's okay. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5, or you can write 7 with and a half, like in the fraction form. I don't care. Same thing. And I can see if I go over 7 and a half, that right here, and up 3 and a half, that looks like my midpoint. So that's right. If I get, if I got, maybe if I even just mix these around, 3 and a half, 7 and a half, I can tell that that's not the midpoint. So slope, I can count. You can see how many are going down, how many are going over. I'm just going to work it out for practice. So y minus y, x minus, sorry about that. And so y minus y and x minus x, that gives me 3 over -3, and that would be -1, which makes sense because you can see it's going down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. And the last one, distance. This is where we finally get to use our Pythagorean theorem if you like it. So I'm going to create a triangle out of that. This is my hypotenuse, the blue line. And all I have to do is count. So the distance from here to here is 3. So the distance from here to here is also 3. I mean, 3 squared plus 3 squared equals c squared, which is 9 plus 9, that's 18. The square root of 18 would be our answer, and you could simplify that to be 3 radical 2. Okay, so remember that the square root of 18 is 9 times 2, and that would be 3 radical 2, what I'm doing there. So I can also work this out using my distance formula. X minus x plus y minus y, negative 3 squared plus 3 squared. And you're just squaring it, so that's why it doesn't matter which order you do it. Either way, I'm going to square it, I'm just going to get positive. Again, square root of 18, and we already figured out that that's 3 radical 2. I don't care which way you do it. It's up to you. If you like a formula, good for you, use that. If you like shortcuts, you're very visual, you can use the graph paper, or you can do both. Alright, I think I'll just try to squeeze in a couple more examples, and then I'll let you guys get to work on your assignment. And if you're still, if you're working on your homework and you need to get, go back to this video for reference, do it. Okay, that's what it's here for. You can always come back to this. Alright, so midpoint, capital M, add the x's. 1 plus negative 3 over 2, and 1 plus negative 3 over 2. That'd be negative 3 over 2, which is negative 1. Same thing there. There's a midpoint. Again, I can plot these points, 1, 1, and negative 3, negative 3. Do all that. And if we go to 1, negative 1, I can see that that's the midpoint. It makes sense. So you guys get endless amounts of scrap paper. I don't care if it's one of my tests or if it's your SOL, so you use it. It's really easy to check your work. Okay, so let's do slope. Y, there we go, 1 minus negative 3, y minus y over x minus x. In this case, they're the same, so it really doesn't matter. And then we get 4 over 4, which is 1. And now I can see that the slope is up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So that makes sense as well. And for distance, again, I can create a right triangle. Count, my sides are 4 on both sides, which would be 4 squared plus 4 squared, which is c squared. 16 plus 16 is 32. And we actually did this one the other day, so if you break down 32, that's 16 times 2, which would be 4 radical 2. And I don't know if anybody caught this, but in the last example, both sides of the triangle were 3, and the hypotenuse was 3 radical 2. And this one, both sides of the triangle are 4, and the hypotenuse is 4 radical 2. That will always be true. So if you see a triangle, 2 sides are the same, the hypotenuse has to be whatever that is for that, which you stop going. So let me work this out the long way. So let's see, x minus x, 1 minus negative 3 squared, plus 1 minus negative 3 squared. 1 minus negative 3 is actually 1 plus 3, so that's 4 squared plus 4 squared. So it's starting to look a little familiar, okay? Which would be 32, and we already figured out that 32 is 4 radical. Same thing. So I really feel like this way is easier using Pythagorean theorem, and even if you don't like it, I still think it's a great idea just to plot those points to check your work. It might not seem easier now, maybe starting off you like using the formula, but I really think at some point you're going to go, this is a whole lot easier. So let me do just one more, just in case. If you think you got the hang of it and you want to stop here, that's fine. I'm going to do one more, just to help you out. Do an example, and then I think we won't do the last one. Okay, so we're going to do midpoint, which is 1 plus. Oh my goodness. Alright. 1 plus 8 divided by 2, and negative 1 plus negative 7 divided by 2. So x plus x and y plus y. 1 plus 8 is 9. 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. Negative 1 plus negative 7 is negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. So there's your midpoint. For slope, y minus y over x minus x. So that will actually be negative 1 plus 7, which is 6. 1 minus 8 is negative 7. So there's your slope. And that's really the same thing as negative 6 over positive 7. Doesn't matter where the sign is. And last one, distance. So the square root of x minus x squared plus y minus y squared. So that would be negative 7 and 1, negative 1, that would be 6. And square those, so we get 49 plus 36. Add those together. Get 85. And I won't worry about breaking that down. You can go and try to do it. So the main idea is just that you need to have these formulas memorized, or you need to be able to use your graph paper to solve these type of problems, because pretty soon we're going to be having a test on this. And you do need to have these formulas memorized. It's not something that's given to you on the day of your SOL, so I'm not going to give it to you. So what you need to do is, once you feel good about the notes, is work on the Lucky Lindy worksheet. And what you're going to do is find all of those slopes. The whole worksheet is just slopes. Do the whole thing. Your final answer at the very bottom, once you add up all the slopes, should add up to 3,610. If it doesn't, then you made a mistake, so go back and check. The other side of the worksheet is distance and midpoint. Please do that as well. And fill out the puzzle at the bottom. If the puzzle doesn't make sense, then you know you made a mistake. I think that's it. I hope this made sense. I'm sorry I had to go so quickly. But again, you can go back, rewatch it, rewind it, and pause when I make these videos. Okay guys, I'll see you next time.